So can we talk about this Spotify situation?
You talk about anything you want to talk about.
All right. So what's the details of this situation? You go to Spotify, you have was it 2-year deal, 3-year deal?
2-year deal.
You have a 2-year deal. You do
twice a week, 2-year.
You do extremely successful. Your show's one of the top shows in the world. And then it's time to re-up and things kind of fall apart. The rumor is that they offered you $30 million and you declined that. Is that true?
No.
Okay, so what's the deal?
That's not true. Things were rocky. Just the public never knew things were rocky. Things were
on the business side,
behind the scenes. Behind the scenes in business, there are signs that, for me, show faith in a relationship and don't. And me coming from music, morale being high is important in any type of creative field, right? So there were a lot of signs that said this ain't gonna go well. No matter how big the show was, or no matter how big the show looked to the public, like I had people that were working at Spotify, they come to me, listen, there's no way they let you walk out the door. You are the focal point in every meeting. You are on the bulletin boards.
That's what it felt like.
You are the blueprint. Like this is, I'm telling you, there's no way in the world. Like people were really saying, I was like, dog, you never know.
Yeah.
You never know. Let's see it play out. So by the time it got to the end, which was for the public, because right, I'm doing a countdown at episode 10, 15. Countdown. Time's almost up. I don't want to lie to the fans.
Yeah. Everything you're saying is what it felt like, right? And then I remember the 100 million thing came out, and it was like, is this the valuation that we feel that the show is worth, or going forward, or was it like, you know what? Let's see how far we can push it.
At the height of the negotiation, I'll be a little transparent here. At the height of that negotiation, we were expecting a high 8-figure sum, and it seemed like that is what would come. What it felt like, this is all based off emotion and assumption now, because you'll never have anything to prove any of this shit. But what it felt like was a call got made. Sometimes a call gets made and Chris Brown can't perform anymore. Like, that's what it felt like. It was very abrupt. As abrupt as it was for the public is exactly how it was for me, and especially my guys, especially everybody that worked in the room. Yeah. They didn't know nothing about nothing. I just knew. Ian, I'm sure, knew. Yeah.
Yeah, because at the time, Joe Rogan, he's just getting his deal. And it's like, oh, Joe's worth this. Joe Rogan's worth this. Called me daddy situation. I'm like, oh, wait. These guys, this is more valuable than that.
But at this point, I don't think the Call Me Daddy or Joe Rogan has happened yet. None of that has happened.
Okay.
I don't think.
Okay.
I don't think. I could be wrong in that, but I don't think any of that has happened yet.
So the issue that you felt the number that they offered, what did they offer you?
Something that ended up being close to 20 million with a lot of shit attached.
A lot of stipulations attached to it.
A lot was attached.
Was ownership of the show involved?
Oh no, that wasn't.
That was never on the table.
That wasn't the problem. But there's this thing going on in the industry where they are misleading you with words. You got to pay attention to words. Words mean things. So like these artists are running around talking about partnerships. What the fuck does the partnership matter if they get paid in perpetuity off everything? Like, you can own it, but if you ain't profited off of it, then it means nothing. And that's what's going on a lot. So ownership was never a problem, but what they wanted to do with me having ownership, it's like, dog, these niggas is playing with me. Y'all playing with me. Y'all must think you could piss on me and tell me it's raining. Like, I don't understand what's happening. You can't just stitch whatever you want into the fucking feed whenever you feel like it. Who are y'all talking to?
Like any kind of ad they wanted to.
Anything they wanted, anytime. Just plug it in. Hey, y'all do what y'all do, and then just give it to us. No. And come off of YouTube. Give us all the videos.
Oh, they wanted the videos.
All the videos. Give us all the videos. All the videos.
Because that's what they did with Joe Rogan.
And don't show up nowhere else. They just asked for a lot.
Don't show up anywhere else, like another show.
This is our shit. We gonna figure out how to run this. They had a universe that they're building.
Yeah.
And in that, you can see them building it. They're doing it publicly. Hey, Spotify buys this advertising company. They buying the companies to come so they could build their shit. No, you can't misuse my shit that way. We're talking about ads, but it's really y'all. Y'all the ad.
Yeah.
It was a lot wrong. I don't lose a day of sleep saying no to that.
Yeah. Being that you come from the music industry and now in the podcast space, You see any similarities in how the corporate is trying to take advantage of the actual creative, right? With the, I guess from the standpoint of people being, this space is so new and people really don't understand, like you said, how to monetize or what their contracts are saying. Do you see those type of similarities from the music to the podcast space?
Yeah, but I mean, we in America. It's the story of Oxtail. Somebody, white person back there, make some oxtail, took the tail, threw it out. The black lady said, hey, let me get that. Get that. Start jazzing it up. Jazzing up that oxtail, now it's good. And now look, go try to buy some oxtail. White people selling that shit to you for $90. No, story out there, that's what they do. It's the history here. Mad parallels, unfortunately.
So, okay, so the Spotify deal doesn't work out. Now you're a free agent.
Yep.
Your next thing is not to try to sign with a new agency, is to start an own network. Without the next course of events?
Yes. But I want to say that plan was underway before Spotify was kaput.
Okay.
Right? Because I had a vision for what I thought would come, and the network would play a huge part. Honestly, I was banking on Apple subscriptions. That was really my plan. I didn't want to go nowhere. I saw our metrics, and I was going to bet on what our numbers would do if we had it all.
If Apple subscriptions, that's like when people pay. Yeah. But that hasn't really worked out, right?
No.
Yeah, the $2.99, $4.99 thing.
Yeah. That didn't.
Like it hasn't worked out for anybody.
I don't think that it went well.
I haven't seen anybody talking about Apple subscriptions.
Yeah.
Which took the plan off the table.
Scrap it.
All right, am I off? That took our plan off the table. It's like, oh, these fucking motherfuckers, now we back to talking to niggas again. And then you get to talking to niggas again. And you spend months and months and months on deals that you have faith in that you would love to come to fruition. And maybe in the final hour, it just falls. These are huge conversations that you're having with people. So I mean, you can't take any of this stuff for granted, right? Like these people that we talking to, who we doing business with, y'all, like these are ships, these are Titanic ships running around. And we just happy to be in the sea. But at some point, we got to figure out how to get to the destination too. So,
when you were coming up with the vision for the network, even inside of the Spotify deal, when you were asking for all these things, were you offering the Joe Budden podcast, the show,
but you know
with
what?
the vision for the network?
Troy, let me stop you, because that was the vision at Complex too. I want to go back to that.
Okay.
Like before you really knew how you were going to monetize a network and what was the best way to do it, I was still saying network, because it just seemed like the obvious thing to do. We were doing Everyday Struggle. Y'all wasn't putting the audio nowhere. It was just a show. It's just on YouTube. Oh, that's one. Academics is huge, just by himself. Oh, that's two. Oh, watch this. We have to crack these niggas. I'm going to do something. He going to do something. Like 5 shows. So it could be done if you do it right. But once you start getting, it's a lot of things at play. It'd be a lot of things at play at that point.
I feel like it was happening for us too. Like we were watching the space, and like I would always reference Bill Simmons that we had with the Ringer.
Shout out to Bill.
Right? So we watched. I'm interested to seeing like if you were taking that same viewpoint, like studying the game and seeing like Bill Simmons. Most people don't know he's a sports writer, but he had 9 shows, right? And nobody probably knows any of the shows. But when Spotify came to get it, it's a $200 million deal. And when I saw that, I'm like, oh, it's got to be network. And so when I'm watching you, I'm like, oh, he must be seeing the same thing. Were you going through that process of thought when you saw it?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, Bill is white and I'm black.
True.
So that always plays a part, not to make it racy. But you're never comparing yourself to somebody white. You can pick up information from anywhere. So, yeah, you picture it that way, and you just hope it worked out for everybody involved. But again, you can have the best plan in the world. If the players on the court don't do the play, then we don't score.
So what do you think, because we have a network, so we've seen how, it works.
And I'm waiting for it. Y'all don't notice every time I see you, y'all, I say that to you, maybe y'all don't pay it no mind.
What?
Waiting for it.
Waiting for
it's
what?
Coming.
Wait for what?
For the nonsense.
Yeah.
I say it every single time I see y'all like Clyde. I don't be joking.
Yeah, you do say that.
I have to see. It's inevitable. It's not a jinx. It's inevitable on that path. So I can't wait to see how the financial people deal with that when it comes. However it manifests. Because by the time it reappears, it'll be more insidious than you last saw it. It happens every time. But you all smart brothers.